thing.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, again, I've spent most of my time in FBS, right, between, Texas Christian University, Oklahoma, and I was at Texas Christian when it was growing. LaDainian Tomlinson just happened to be there
LD.
as a Hall of Famer, and I saw him break the single game rushing record of 406 yards. Dude had 3 years, okay? But I saw that school grow, okay? I was at Texas A&M as well for 7 years, and, we actually moved to the Big 12 when I was there. And, and then we were talking about moving to the SEC. And then, 7 years at Alabama and, a couple of championship rings with Coach. And I'm saying all that to say, I didn't know how fast we would go, but I knew that KSU had the capacity because I've seen championship programs at a very, very high level, what it takes and the type of infrastructure you need around it, fan base you need around it. And KSU's got the stuff, baby. So I knew that. I just didn't know how fast we'd go.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We had Coach Bohannon on the show 3 weeks ago, and we saved you a little grief. First question we asked him, I said, is there any truth to the rumor that you turned down the Alabama job to stay at KSU? He said, well, of course we did. I'm not going to follow Nick Saban.
That is a very tough act to follow.
Yeah, it is.
Especially in a state where they don't have any other channels.
Yeah.
There's no baseball or basketball or any other channels there.
No, it is. It's definitely football and God.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. You kind of led us down this road. When you get a phone call that says, "Hey, we'd like you to join Conference USA," is that a random text message that you get at night? And you go, is it a text message or an email that says, "Hey, who dis?"
I would say
because they pursued us, we didn't pursue them.
That's correct. Typically, there's always it's like dating, so there's a little bit of flirting. Then there's there's conversation.
Let me take some notes.
So it all started in a ballroom while you were drinking.
The official call came to not me but President Schwag.
Okay.
And from the conference commissioner Judy, and and again it was. Are you interested? What's what's your thought process about it? Are you ready? There's a lot of questions because frankly, there's you got to have some capacity, right? Because they want to know that you're going to grow, that you're going to build. That what's your infrastructure going to look like? Are you going to make the investments that you need to? All those different things. And President Swaggs did a magnificent job of being convincing, as she is convincing as a leader across the board. So yeah.
So that meeting took place. How many people were in that meeting with President Schwag?
President Schwag and the commissioner.
No. Afterwards,
after
when
that,
she brings it to you
so
and
after,
the rest of the
after
KSU.
that is it's her and I, for some time, and because you have to keep everything quiet because you're in a conference, right? And we were great members of the ASUN, and so we didn't take that lightly, and but everyone, even in the ASUN, knew that. We had actually started football in ASUN for the purpose of everybody moving up to FBS. So everyone has that aspiration, right?
Sure.
But it just takes time, energy, and effort, and you've got to be invited. So, again, between her and I, and then then we got more people involved, and there's a whole process with the USG. That's a qualifying process. It's very tedious. You've got to go through a 5-year budget submission, and it goes through, and you have to prove out that you're going to be able to. Generate the resources necessary, have the support necessary, without impacting negatively, the institution. So again, and unfortunately, we had to keep it very, very quiet, even according to the USG, right?
How long did you know before you let it public?
Before we announced? Oh, it's several months.
Yeah.
Yeah, several months. I mean, because we had to go through the due diligence process. It was a campus meeting. Eventually, when we had an online. Conversation, with conference, Conference USA, and then there was a couple of those meetings, and then they had a campus visit and then that's very quiet, and
Who are those people walking around? Nobody. Those aren't anybody.
There was a whole committee of people walking through, and they didn't have Conference USA on their jackets, but we had some good conversations, and and it ended up well, and I didn't know how fast we would go. But I knew that, again, we had the capacity, and we're really matching the energy of the university, right? Because the university's growing so fast, and now it's up to us to do our job, in that, right? And we're going to be able to improve the visibility, with the institution, right? And to help it grow, and that's really our purpose, in this. This is not an athletic department move. Mm-hmm. This is a university move, mm-hmm. right? Because name recognition and visibility, being with other institutions, it's R2 and R1, right? They believe the same in terms of have same academic prowess and research based. That's all going to help us generate more students on campus, not just athletes, but grow our student population, and they're going to be excited. Man, I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for that first home football game and that first
Raging
televised
Cajuns.
game. Man.
Yeah.
I'm ready for that because
We
we're
talk
going to be
about
on
those
national
Tuesdays
stage.
and Wednesdays
Yeah.
all the time. We love
Yeah,
it.
all the time. That's exposure when people want to watch football, and we're
Yeah.
the only game in town.
That's it.
That's what's going to make it happen for us. Just like the Xavier game. I know you and I went and Will the Thrill went up there to the basketball game in Garrett.
Right.
I mean, everybody's saying, "Where's Kennesaw State? Where's Kennesaw State?"
Right.
And by the end of the game,
Yeah.
they knew where Kennesaw State was because. Who wants to go? Nobody wants to go to war with the Owls. I mean, there was 100 of us singing it before the game. By the end of the game, everybody but the Xavier fans were singing it. That was unbelievable.
I believe that some of the Xavier fans were singing. I saw
It's
them.
catchy. It's catchy.
I swear I saw them.
You got to cut those people break from Southern Ohio. They don't have a lot
They
of
don't have
catchy
a lot of
songs in that
catchy stuff
area,
up
and
there,
it's
yeah.
like, wow, this is good.
It's so funny that you say that because we were walking out and there's so many people that came up to us that because when you're there at the tournament, you're there to see 4 games, right?
Correct.
And they're fans from that came to see
8
the other
different
teams.
places.
They were singing the songs and they were the
incredible.
Banana Boys. That was their first really public appearance.
Yeah.
And they were taking pictures with the Banana Boys to all these other institutions. So
Yeah.
it was really fun. I got to tell you this on that because this is fun. So President Swag and I went to Conference USA meetings a couple of weeks ago, right? And the coach, the basketball coach, head basketball coach at Liberty. So he comes up to me during one of the sessions. He says, "Look, I still hate coming to your gym because that song, you don't want to go to war with the Owls, is in my head." I heard that 2 weeks ago from Liberty's basketball coach.
That's pretty cool.
And that's when you got a little home cooking going on.
You
Yeah.
better believe it. But that just shows you that the fan base makes a difference because you want to play in an intimidating environment, and we create an intimidating environment. We've got to do that at basketball. We've got to do that at football. We've got to do that in every single venue that we have because that's going to help our players get over the edge. When I was a player, if you're on defense, offense, that when you hear that, it just gives you a little bit more, okay? So I'm encouraging our fans to come out there and just be the 12th man,
Yeah, well, Robert and I were at that first Liberty game that we play at home, not the playoffs, the tournament, but the first game, and I'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
It was incredible, the excitement of being there. And we brought, 4 other guys with us
We
to the
brought a bunch of
game,
people.
and they were just like, this is awesome.
And they were all like rookies as far as the KSU way of life. So, they've been to a lot of games, but, you see these people who really don't even have a dog in the fight per
Right.
se, and they're just got this, a grin on their face. Oh, man, I'm having a great time. I don't even know what I'm cheering for right now. It's the future.
Well, passion is infectious.
It is.
If you're passionate and you're screaming like, "Man, what's wrong with that guy or that lady?" Like, I want some of that.
Yeah.
Right?
It's funny. So this whole process started maybe 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're 12 days away.
That's right.
How exciting is that?
It's very exciting, and I believe we're prepared, and our expectation, anytime you go into an environment, there's going to be high level of competition, But here's what I love about us. Okay, we are blue collar, scrappy. We don't care how much money you have. We don't care if you're bigger. You better come for a fight, right? So no matter whether you're on the track or you playing golf or whatever you're doing, we are coming to compete, right? And so our coaches are excited. Our student athletes are excited. And again, I believe the fan base is excited, and our institution is excited. I was in the staff meeting, President's Cabinet, and the president, from a leadership perspective, she'll bring cabinet members to practice. The whole cabinet, like the VPs, they'll come to basketball practice, they'll come to football practice. And we were just talking about our plan as a university to launch in the Conference USA. So when I say that it's not an athletic thing, it's an institution, it's the whole institution that's on board.
So, are there any big surprises coming out that we're going to need to know about on July 1st? Is there going to be any other huge announcements that come along with it?
We're gonna roll it out just over time, right? So just every week we're gonna try to do an announcement and do things like this. So we're gonna hang. I don't know the exact date yet, but we're gonna post it soon. That when we're going to hang the banners. So we take the ASUN banners down in the basketball arena, and then we put all the Conference USA banners up. So that'll be a media event. We're doing a new floor.
Yep,
so
Conference USA logo. We saw a picture of that.
There's a basketball floor, we're going to be doing some banners and things like that in the stadium. So every week rolling up into our first home football game, we're going to be doing something. So sometimes it may be that we're putting patches on jerseys, or those kind of things. So.
Or maybe this week you've brought in the world's greatest soccer player. I mean, there's always something going on at this university.
Always. No, it's fun. I mean, we've got a lot going on, and think about it. We've got an Olympian.
Daniel Hall.
Daniel.
He sat in that chair.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, and so he's brought a lot, and so you're just going to see more and more, over time. And again, the goal is for us to have national prominence. There's a new strategic plan on campus, and the goal is to make sure that we are known. That's what prominence means. It means to be known, right? And so, but there are steps to getting there, and you got to have the right vehicles, and the athletics is a real good vehicle.
Absolutely, it is. And well, we've got many, many more questions. Let's go ahead and get our second commercial in with Brain Train, if we can, please.
Hey, it's Melissa at Brain Train Centers, the fastest growing neurofeedback provider in the world, and I have some pretty important questions for you. Do you or someone you know struggle with focus and attention, sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations. Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit braintraincentersinc.com.
All right. So thank you, Meg and Melissa, for being sponsors of the Owls Who Live Sports. We'll continue our conversation with Milton Overton, the athletic director at Kennesaw State. What a great time to be an Owl. It really is. Everything's going nowhere but up from here. I mean,
right.
The whole face of Kennesaw State athletics will change July 1. And I'm so excited to be a part of that. And like we were talking a little bit off camera, all the athletes that we've ever interviewed, when we say why KSU, they say, you know what, the food, the accommodations, it's just really cool place.
Right.
Got my own bathroom. So they're very appreciative, and it's easy to understand why they come here. Now, one of the things that is changing, and we'll talk a little bit about the change to Conference USA, but NIL and the transfer portal has totally changed sports. And you spoke a little bit about that the other night at Carrick's place when we did that thing there. Share with everybody your thoughts. I thought that was so good.
Yeah, so just while there is certainly a reset of college sports, right? And the reset is, obviously revenue share, and paying players, right? It's something that it needed to happen. That there was an opportunity for players. Now, it didn't need to kind of happen like this without guardrails, right? So, but we are where we are, and
can't go backwards.
No, you can't go backwards, and it's again, it's going to be definitely a different experience. But here's what I tell people about NIL and college sports. College sports is going to be college sports. It ain't going anywhere. Okay, you have to adjust and adapt a bit, but you maintain your values, right? Mm-hmm. So we have one goal. Graduate players, graduate student athletes. So no matter if you've got NIL or you've got revenue share, it doesn't change. You can't change who you are, your value proposition, and if we do that, okay, we maintain our integrity relative to what our goals are. We will attract players, okay, who want to be here, okay. We can build great value, proposition for them in terms of NIL dollars. I know Carrick's here, We've got the Owl Collective, which we're raising some resources for there. And so, we're going to have players on contract, multimedia rights contracts. That's a fact, right? I've got two boys that are in school, too. They've signed multi-million right contracts.
Yeah.
EA Sports, you know.
You're one of the few people who can look at this question from two different pedestals, and it's very interesting.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's really helped me understand it's in a comprehensive way, right? Because but it also gives us an advantage, right? So when I'm going to all the different recruiting, opportunities, right, and I'm sitting in front of, Kirby and all the other folks, I'm hearing what they're doing from a NIL perspective, right? Build the packages. I'm learning that, and pulling that, that same type of, for a structure here, right? Again, it's not the same amount of dollars, but here's what we've got to do. We've got to be like the Oakland A's in Moneyball. All right, so that's we've got to be very efficient. And what did they do there? They found statistical alignment with players that had, that met their needs from a performance standpoint, also had the right value system, and you have a formula that you use in defining that. So we're building our formula in this new environment, but we're going to maintain who we are and our value system while we do it. And we're going to find players, okay, that are, they might be that second transfer. They've already made the resources, okay? They've signed money, but they hadn't played a whole lot. But they're still 4-star, 5-star student athlete, right?
That's correct.
If they're from Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and the surrounding areas, guess what? They might be right fit for us at the right time. So you've got to look at it from that perspective. You're not going to be Georgia yet. You're not in the SEC, but you're recruiting the same players. We want the same players. We just have to attack it in a different way. Okay.
Well, and as you said, we were talking about it earlier, we might not be able to offer as much money as another big school can, but if a kid's sitting on the bench behind, he's the third stringer and he's thinking, man, I really wish I could get a little bit of playing time. Glad I've already cashed some checks. That maybe that's who KSU comes to KSU to open up our door with the portal and everything else.
No, absolutely. But when you look in that portal, you'll find players that actually have some proven competency in playing.
Absolutely.
They want to play 4 quarters, not 2.
Correct.
Right, so I'm not saying somebody that's just ridden the bench. I'm saying that you can find players who have played college football at a high level, but they just want more playing time. They're trying to get to the NFL, and you can't get to the NFL playing 1 quarter. All right, that's not the way it works. So, but we'll take you here, okay?
Yeah.
And we'll help
Coach
develop
Mo wants you to work.
Absolutely. And then the other thing is that you have an opposite side of that, right? It's not just the transfer portal. What the transfer portal has done is that it's less opportunities for high school kids. I'm sure you heard Coach Bo say the same thing. So we're going to be able to get access to really great talent, okay, from a high school perspective that, again, Georgia or somebody else might pass up because they want proven competency as a receiver in the portal. Well, we'll take that 4-star, 5-star talent, okay, and develop them. That's how you win.
Absolutely.
That's how you get to that 12th spot, that 11th spot in the CFP, all right? So when I tell you that, I expect that, all right? We come to be competitive, okay? And KSU is going to be in a bowl game, okay, a New Year's Day bowl game. We're going to win. We're going to beat the heck out of somebody that you don't expect, but I expect it.
Yeah.
You have to get on that field and you expect to win. I don't care who you're looking at in front of you. You expect to win.
And you have to have that perspective because everybody else is going to follow your lead who's underneath you, and they have to know what the goal is.
Yeah.
That's right.
And to that point, Milton, is there any difference between an AD in the FBS and an AD in the FSC?
Absolutely not. We're doing the same things, and nobody's more competitive than me.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it's a business proposition. So, remember, I was in Alabama. I've been at A&M. Our budget was $120 million. I was probably responsible for $30 million of it. All the mechanics, every single thing that you're doing from a business standpoint, all the business lines are exactly the same.
Yeah.
You approach it exactly the same, right? So you think about those folks that, Jacksonville State was in a bowl. They just got in, right? Liberty was in a bowl, okay? Heck, they were in a Fiesta Bowl, okay?
Yeah, correct.
Now, they've invested quite a few dollars, but guess what? Metro Atlanta is a better area.
Absolutely.
So you got to play to your strengths. So you can't say, I just can't do something, all right? You got to figure out why are we unique, okay? And we're going to convince people to be unique and want to build something here, right? And you know what? I'm going to line players up, and those players are going to have a chip on their shoulder because they're going to show you that you should have recruited me. I'm going to beat the death out of you, all right? So
let me ask you this. What has been the most interesting thing for your particular job making this transition and going to Conference USA? And is there a surprise that we're all going to be interested in about something that Conference USA has to offer that's going to keep our attention?
I really think it's, you guys already talked about the midweek games and everything. I think the level of competition is going to be surprising to some in all the areas. They're really good in baseball. We just got Dallas Baptist, in. They're going to be hosting. We got, I think we got potentially a two bid basketball league. I think we'll get more opportunities in baseball. Track and field is going to be really good. Golf is very competitive. Tennis is competitive. So I think from a surprise standpoint, I just think that as we play these midweek games and as we get into bowl games, you're going to see some Conference USA schools beat some of these Power 4 programs. And and unfortunately, it's not Power 5 anymore; it's a Power 4. So I think that'll be somewhat of a surprise, and I think also just the level of collegiality, and we're doing some research together. Last thing I'll say about it is there's an esports team.
It's in the game.
KSU has an esports team. Right, so we're actually going to be in an esports league in Conference USA that with our esports program, right? So, and we expect them, to win and be champions in that. So, I think that just look at overall, what's going to happen in terms of that visibility and what happens. I think on campus. Okay, I expect there to be some great correlation in numbers with the attendance, some great correlation in numbers in terms of growth and people signing up applications to want to come to KSU in multiple states. Watch what happens like Texas. Look at our applications in Texas and Florida and other areas. Those applications for general students are going to go up. So we're going to look at that correlation to see exactly what happened and and what kind of influence being on TV in those markets will do for us.
So one of your requirements or skills is you set the schedules for the teams, right? So getting Wake Forest and Indiana back-to-back to open the 25 season were a little bit of a surprise, but the biggest surprise I've seen so far is Rutgers coming here offer to play basketball. Tell me how that came about.
Well, Coach Petway's got some really good relationships, and so that came about because Rutgers they've got some Georgians on the team.
Some McEachern boys.
Right,
yeah,
who want to come back and play. And so when you're doing scheduling is very delicate. Like it's really relationships, okay? They're
like everything else.
It really is. So there's some games that we'll go and play a guarantee. But if we can bring, a top-tier team in, like a Big Ten team or whatever, a Big East team, let's do that. Let's allow our fan base, to really, experience big-time, college basketball. And, I'm glad for the Rutgers players to be able to come home and play. But I'm even what's more important is that when you play a team early, we can beat Rutgers at home. So
Absolutely.
That sort of thing, you'll see us do more home and homes, with some larger opponents when it comes to the basketball schedule.
Is this a home and home with Rutgers, or is it?
No, they're just coming here once, but we're going to see if we can get a home and home. But we'll actually scout out and see if there's Georgia players on teams, whether it's Ohio State, any other Big Ten team, and because that's a draw, for those coaches to come. They also want to recruit, the Atlanta market. So,
Sure, that never hurts.
And we actually have a McEachern player on the KSU squad now. So him would be playing his two classmates from McEachern at the Combo Center.
Right, absolutely.
That place will rock. That place would be something else.
Yeah, it's scheduling is strategic, and there's some other announcements going to be coming up too with some SEC opponents, and I'll let those. I can't say them right now.
I understand. Carrick's always been pulling for the Dodgers
to come here. Or when we go to some other wonderful places.
Going to the Grove would be super. But opening up at Wake Forest, beautiful campus. I've been up there before. It's going to be a great place. And then Indiana back-to-back. We're 0-5 against FBS football teams.
For now,
but that's going to change this year.
That's right. Absolutely. You asked Coach Bo what I was just talking to the whole staff the other day. What's the first thing on the list here? You want to win a championship and all that, but get your first FBS win. That's what our goal is, to get the first FBS win. That's right.
Yeah.
And look at the schedule this year. We're going to UTSA. They're a good team.
Four bowl teams.
Yeah, they're good teams. But they're beatable, okay? So we have an opportunity, I think, there. And then San Jose State, that's going to be a good trip for us, generated some resources off of that. But it's a team that they're beatable.
Yeah. And the money that the school gets goes up a lot more when you get to Conference USA than in Atlantic Sun, right?
No, absolutely. When I got here in 2018, December 2018, really kind of started in 2019, January, but our budget was $26 million. This year, because of all of the things that are happening, it'll be around $36 million.
Yeah.
I mean that's a $10 million difference, in terms of the budget. But what helps
a 40%
with that is,
increase.
no doubt. What helps with that is you got game guarantees. The game guarantees best you could get as an FCS program, typically in that $350,000, $400,000 range. We can get as much as a 1.9 for one game. 1.2, 1.3, right? So. Those game guarantees go up a lot. Also, your sponsorship value goes up a lot. We got 2 big sponsors that we just did extensions with that are worth about $40 million.
Yeah. So I know Carrick wanted to ask a lot about the facilities. So that money that we're now getting, that we're going to get us some new sports facilities.
Absolutely. So obviously, I'm so proud and thankful for all of our wonderful donors, everybody that's sitting here. I mean that help day in and day out. But we'll be breaking ground next month. On a baseball facility we've been talking about for 20 years.
Yep.
For 20 years. And when I talked to all the alumni of the baseball, they said, "Man, we've been talking about that for this length of time. We didn't think it was ever going to happen." And so this move has really helped us. The leadership, like I said, with President Swag and all the commitments that she's made. But that's about a $14 million, $15 million facility.
Yeah.
And we call it a renovation, but everything's going down.
Right.
And everything's coming back up new.
back.
And then I'm excited about. We're trying to finish up our fundraising. We've got a capital campaign. It's $200 million. Lance Burchett's done a fantastic job, in helping to raise money and set that vision. Of that $200 million, about $33 to $40 million is athletics. And so we're working on a project for a sports performance facility, which is going to move football from where it is, to the east side of the football stadium, all right? Mm-hmm. And this is about a 50,000 square foot facility, brand new locker rooms, brand new weight room. I mean, I'm talking about a massive weight room, office space. Training room. Right now, we've been in a trailer, for our entire existence in terms of sports medicine. We moved from a trailer to about a 7,000 square foot, very, very nice, training room with hydrotherapy tubs, that have treadmills in them, all of those things. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, and I spoke a little bit with Carrick about that, and one of the things about that sports performance center is the way their time gets acute, a player can only practice for so many hours a day.
20 hours a week.
And right now, they have to drive over here, and practice has already started.
Absolutely.
They haven't even made it to the field. So when this facility is built right next to the stadium, there's going to be 19 and a half more hours of actual practice.
There's a lot more. We've been losing about 5 hours.
Thing.
We've been losing about 5 hours a week, with practice. And if you think about it, Coach Bohannon's won without really having the same amount of practice time that everybody else has, right? Because our players have to go over, they're going to go and watch film and everything over at the warehouse, right? And they have to get in their cars and they drive over to the stadium. And then they've got to get dressed for practice right there. Then you walk over to the perch. So it does take off a lot of time. And most football facilities are connected to the stadium for that very same reason, right? So that we want a one-stop shop. And we're not going to stop there. We're going to start there. But we've got great expectations, in terms of what we want to do from a facility standpoint moving forward.
That's awesome.
Those two facilities that are, both of them, between baseball and football, you're talking about nearly $40 million, in facilities that will happen in the next 24 months.
That's awesome. Let's go to the last commercial, and Robert, if you would read that, please.
Dun, dun, dun.
Kennesaw Express.
There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castrol Kennesaw Express Lube or Lost Mountain Express Lube. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly, safely, and without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under a car or a hood at one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer Castrol products.
And thank you, Brian Bristow, for being a sponsor of the Owls Who Live Sports right here at Miller's Ale House every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock.
That's 46 minutes of softballs going towards them. Are we getting ready to
Let's go.
turn up that heat a little bit?
Before you do it, let me tell you, you're an expert at the sponsorship reads. I just want to let you know.
Hey, thank you. It doesn't always feel that way, but I appreciate it.
He's doing very well, yeah. So we're going to turn up the heat or laugh a little bit?
No, we're good. Question I've been dying to just have you this close. When you look at some of the schools that you've mentioned before, whether it be Georgia, Alabama, Texas A&M, they have women's pogo stick. There's a contest or a team for everything.
Right.
As we get larger, as we expand, there will probably become more teams under our umbrella. In the bottom right hand of your drawer, is that where the secret list is of what it might be and what order it might be in?
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time because, again, remember, all of what we're talking about, we're doing it in a complete reset of college sports, right?
Absolutely.
So while you're going to see this across the board, your first thing is to make sure that you increase, your spending on the existing sports so that you can get at a higher level, right? And you'll see this even with the larger schools, and now they're going to have a $20 million revenue share. And while they had some facilities online and some expectations of starting other sports, they've got now you actually have to pay payroll along with the other expenses, right?
Right.
So for us, there's always a list, okay? So you got beach volleyball. It would make a lot of sense for us because we have volleyball players and we have beach volleyball courts, right? So you always, when you look at what sports you're going to start, you see, okay, what sports are competitive in this area, what facilities you have already that can accommodate so that your expenses, are not as high in terms of startup and that you can actually maintain it. When you start saying volleyball, typically there's some players that play both ways, right? And you start off with, you can start with the same coach and then you split it out, right? You've got that, you've got bowling, could be another one.
Bowling? I was waiting for an answer. Bowling was not on my list.
That's right up my alley.
Oh, Lord.
There's other sports as well. I don't want to say this for you think that that's the very next thing that's coming because we've got some other things we've got to do. But, as we grow and as we become more comfortable and improve our investment level in our existing sports, there will be additional teams.
And those teams
eventually
will come in pairs, correct? It has to come in a
Absolutely. Well, they more likely will be women's sports, you would think, first. Okay, so when I talk about beach volleyball, it's women, and we'll probably do that first, and then the pair would be maybe there's a men's sport after that, okay, or men's and women's bowling as an example, right?
Back to bowling. This guy.
I say bowling because
this guy's a great poker player. I can tell that already.
State, they have a bowling team and they just won a national championship. It's a pretty cool because again, I'm the athletic director, so I'm always looking at it from an economic standpoint. Yeah, who can you align with and how can you be competitive? It's just one of those that they're not as expensive to start. And the travel is not that great, and there's not a whole lot of teams. So you try to pick from emerging sports. So the NCAA emerging sports list. So you can look at that list and say that there's probably a few off of that we would go to. So
that's really cool. That's really cool. So
sense.
We have heard you're somewhat of a barbecue type of person. How does your product compare against Will's over there?
I can't hold a candle to Will. I don't believe.
That's a
I
solid answer for a season ticket man over there.
That's right. So I'm gonna say that Will would have an edge, but I do have a dry rub on my ribs. Okay,
Secret.
That might
family,
be a little
family recipe.
Yeah,
on
a little something like that. I used to have a little barbecue catering business when I was at Oklahoma back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I used to the 3-time back-to-back softball national champion Patty Gasso, at Oklahoma. They just won the
four-time.
Yeah, just won it again.
I used to go and feed that team.
Did you really?
The softball team. So you never know what skill set you're going to get out of your athletic director. But it might have something to do with food.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Nothing wrong with that. Will is pretty good at food too. Yeah, he likes.
I don't know. Will has lost a lot of weight, man. He looks fantastic, doesn't he?
He does.
He is my idol.
When I grow up, I want to be like Will.
That's right.
We're all on that page. We're all definitely all on that page with Will.
Okay. Another fun question we like to ask, and we ask this of all our guests, is who's the most famous person in your cell phone? And I got a pretty good idea who it might be, but.
Well, I looked at it a minute ago. I think Carrie kind of gave me a little bit of heads up.
Hey, Carrie, come on. What are you doing? Throw in the show.
So Nick and Terry Saban, Coach Roy Williams in North Carolina.
Oh, Roy Williams.
Yeah. You know, when you're in athletics, you have job opens, everybody calls you, you know, and you can develop relationships there. So I got a lot of, you know, really top-tier head coaches, but I would say from a relationship standpoint, if I needed something done at Alabama and I needed some help,
you had to call Terry first.
Miss Terry.
That's what Carrick told me. Hey,
She
now,
was my
Carrick,
go-to.
why would you go and blow that for us, Carrick?
It's just his thing.
Yeah.
It's his thing.
It's funny. So who would you think Coach Bo told us was the most famous person in his cell phone?
I don't know. I don't know.
Jerry Rice.
Oh, Jerry Rice.
I said, can we call Jerry now? I'd like to talk to Jerry. So that was pretty cool.
He's a
We
phenomenal
should
player,
add
man.
the segment on the back end of the show is after they tell us that, we actually call that person.
That would be fun. Yeah, that would be
It
cool.
might change their answers, but
So in your cell phone and being able to
Yeah.
actually get a pickup call are two different things. you know?
No,
Yeah, that is-
absolutely,
that is-
absolutely.
We had a lot of Dabo Sweeney. We had
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was, I think it was Teddy Parrish,
Oh,
wasn't it?
I believe it was Teddy Parrish.
Yeah, Teddy. So he's been on the show a
No, I
couple of
just did
times.
coaches. I'll have to get on another show to do somebody other than coaches.
Oh, dude, you can come back anytime you want. We got one more commercial we want to hear, and only because we want you to hear. It's our first time we've ever run this commercial, but it's somebody you know, Joshua Smith. You know Joshua?
I know Joshua.
Yeah, you know Joshua.
Okay.
He's an attorney out of Dalton.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a big fan of the show.
And now that I've been plugged as doing this really well, here's one that I've never read.
So don't mess it up, Robert.
My name is Joshua Smith, and my wife Tammy and I are graduates of Kennesaw State College. I've been practicing law for 24 years, specializing in sports and entertainment law, while continuing in criminal defense, civil litigation, juvenile, and personal injury. And I'm ready to represent you all the way from a small town to the Supreme Court and any appellate court in between. With all these new rules regarding NIL and cash payments to athletes, we are placing a new emphasis on Kennesaw State University student athletics to help student athletes better navigate some of the bigger issues that have tripped up so many. Give us a call tomorrow at 706-217-2095.
How about a big hand for Robert
All
for the
right.
first
That's
read on that? That was
fantastic.
pretty good.
And I will have to give Josh a call.
Yes. So Josh is now a sponsor of the show. As
That's
of today.
fantastic.
And you know, we can't give $26 million to the program, but that's the whole purpose of our show is to raise money. We do a 5:00 show too, but all the money that we get for our sponsors goes straight to the KSU
Well,
athletics.
I appreciate it. Every single dollar counts. You know, and I'm gonna tell you again, as a former student athlete who didn't really know, you know that I was resting on the shoulders of folks like yourself that gave towards my scholarship. Our student athletes appreciate it, and,
Yeah.
it matters.
We've built so many good relationships with athletes across the board, from the Australian girls, Callie Turza. Callie actually came on and she did squats with Adam on her shoulder.
Oh, is that really?
Yeah.
Yes.
We had Cole LaRue in here for an eating contest against Will before Will started disappearing so quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
And
They had a $25 hamburger here. It was like this tall, and it came with an order of
cheese
fries.
sticks
And what was the
chicken
girl's name?
tenders.
Caitlin Corral.
Corral.
She's a javelin thrower, and she used to be a waitress here. And
Yeah,
she,
I know her. I've met
so
her
she
before.
came in and she said it took me an hour and a half to eat this, and we said, how much fun would it to have Will? And we had Chris Youngblood on, and he.
Oh, is that right?
And we said, who is the guy that can eat?
Yeah, who on your team?
That's got to be Cole LaRue.
That's Cole LaRue. He can eat anything.
So we had Cole and Will sitting right here, and we figured since it took Caitlin an hour and a half, it'd probably take them hour, maybe 50 minutes or whatever. We looked over.
10
Cole,
and a half.
Cole ate it in 10 minutes.
Wow.
And 30
You know, that doesn't surprise me. He doesn't look like he could eat, but
Oh, dude,
he's a great kid.
Great super kid.
Absolutely. In fact, he's in Texas. He's got, I think he's getting married.
Yep,
and
he is
I'm
in
going to
August.
help him with. He wants to get into in the medical field, and I've got some friends down there in Texas. So I wanted to say that because I appreciate you guys doing that, and also want to let you know. We want to help our players, and we, once now, always now. So we're going to
Absolutely.
continue.
That's it.
Well, anybody you want on the show to give them exposure like this, we would love to have them on. So.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we've got one more question, and Robert, I know this is your favorite thing to ask.
Well, we ask everybody at the end of the show to look at the camera, and you're a little different because usually that little thing sitting right above his head. A lot of times we talk about there's a player out there who's thinking about coming to KSU, and tell that player why he should come to KSU. But with you, we have coaches, players. There's all sorts of different people who you could possibly be talking to.
Yeah.
But why should they jump on this Conference USA Kennesaw State Express?
It's the absolute best time to be an Owl, right? And if you want to come and grow something, right, and build a legacy. Sometimes you can go to places and you may get lost in the shuffle. You won't get lost in the shuffle here. You had an opportunity to build something brand new, right? To win the first bowl game, and make that first catch, a touchdown, right, in a bowl game. Very few people have an opportunity to build legacy. And the other thing I'll tell you is that the KSU family, the Owl Nation will love on you. There are folks that that come and give our kids cookies for their birthdays and cakes for their birthdays, and they meet them at the buses when they leave. Like, these are all extra things that they're not just buying tickets to watch you play. They're loving on you, and you will be family when you come to KSU.
That's true. That's true. Chuck's been tooting that horn for a long time that if you give $500 to LSU or Georgia or Ohio State, you might get a postcard in the mail.
Right.
But you do that to KSU, and you might just get a handshake from Milton the next time you show up at an arena.
You better believe it, and that goes a long way. And
It sure does. It sure does.
The money stretches here, and you get great value when you give money and you support our program. And last thing I wanted to say is that we're, almost 40% first-generation college students.
That's incredible.
Okay,
That is amazing.
and we've had 2 student body presidents out of the last 3 that were student athletes. And what does that tell you about leadership?
Well, we've had
I've
one of them
never
on
been-
the show
yeah.
multiple times.
Anthony
Yeah.
Harrison.
And we're just
Right.
blown away every time. It's like, and you do that on top of everything else.
Nowhere I've been, no FBS school I've been, where you have student body presidents back-to-back in an athletic department. It just shows you that we're ingrained and we preach leadership principles. And people, your student body, they're going to support you because they appreciate you being here and appreciate what you do. So.
Yep. One last question, because we were talking about it over the table before you got here, and I forgot about this during the show. Away football games. Will we have a pocket of tickets where the KSU fans will sit together?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. We'll be sending that information out here shortly. And we're trying to work on like travel, trips, like, buses and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
when we get that information together, because I know we're going to do something for UTSA for sure in
Yeah.
terms of the whole travel party, but we will provide, a pocket of tickets, for fans can sit together. So
Yeah,
absolutely.
cool. Yeah, my son went to MTSU.
Okay.
So we're going up there for the Tuesday night game.
That,
We're gonna
it'll,
up
it'll
there
be
play
it'll be
football.
fun.
We're going to
They've
be
done
cheering
great.
against his son that night.
We will,
I will.
no doubt.
I love my son, but I'm an owl. All right. Well, Milton, thanks, buddy. What
Thank
a
you so
thrill
much.
to have
Really
you
appreciate
on.
it. Thanks for
How about a big
thank
hootie hoo?
All right,
For
Milton.
Milton.
Let's go Owls.
And we want you on anytime you want to be on. All right.
Appreciate it. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
So, Robert, great show, buddy, as always.
As always, great show. Getting the insight.
Getting
to,
the in scoop. We
I
got
still like
100
to get in
questions
that
and we still
lower
like to
right-hand
ask.
drawer on that bowling. Bowling just kind of caught me off guard. But
So we thank Milton for coming out, and we thank you for being a part of the show here at Miller's Ale House on a Wednesday night. And we'll see you next Wednesday on the Owls Who Live Sports.
Who